very astute observation, because if you look at the vibration of love, it would be really easy for us to say that the opposite of the vibration of love is the vibration of hate. But it actually isn't. The opposite of the vibration of love is the vibration of fear. And so obviously, I mean, it's like, it goes without saying, given that premise, that the opposite of self-love is self-fear. Right? Bam. Totally awesome observation. That's actually the first time I've ever had that question. So yeah, a lot of times your self-hate will come in the form of fear, and it's going to talk to you like this. Don't do that. That's what the self-sabotage is about. In fact, I have an entire chapter in here, 8 Faces of Self-Sabotage. I wrote that chapter specifically because of that. Because the door that the self-hate comes through is the door of fear. And it's going to talk you into basically making decisions that completely destroy your life and that sabotage you instead of benefit you. But it's still self-hate. See, so that's how self-hate comes in the back door. Self-hate comes in the back door and it doesn't say, hey, I hate you. It says, oh, I love you, and so I'm going to do this to you. So the way that it does that with fear is it says, look, I'm going to tell you what you have to watch out for, and I love you. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's me loving me, when really it's just sabotage.
So that's the same with, like, when other people say to you, I'm being so hard on you, I'm rough with you because I love you.
Oh, okay, oh my gosh, okay, just for a second. This is one of those things that when I was writing this book that drove me nuts, is that I started to see how incredibly embedded the idea of abuse is with the idea of love. Like, hello the whole world. This is not like a localized issue. This is a worldwide issue, that we've basically taught ourselves that love means pain. I mean, look at what your moms did. I mean, I realize, like, I tend to be pretty harsh on parents, but the reality is, you're a tiny little kid, you're sitting at a table, your parent does something that really hurts you, and they say, you know what, it's for your own good, I'm doing this because I love you. Have fun with what that turns into when you're older. Terrible relationships, super abusive relationships, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, that person treats me well, and that person treats me terrible, and that person must love me more. And it's just embedded in our psyche. So it is really critical for us to learn the warmth and the softness that is the actuality of love, so we can differentiate it between this abuse that we keep telling ourselves is love. And we treat ourselves with that very same attitude. To love myself is to abuse myself, because that's the only way I can be good enough to earn love from the external world. One suggestion for dealing with negative self-talk is to step outside of the hating mind and love it. So like, you've got a self that is hating the self. What if you loved the self that hated the self? I mean, I really want you to sit with that for a minute, because I mean, it's a difficult concept to grasp, but if you can grasp what I just said, you've got everything.
Using 2 minds.
Essentially, it's the observer self.
Right.
But if you are capable of loving the aspect of you, or at least having mercy for the aspect of you that is hating the self, in a second you will understand that it exists in order to try to keep you good. You will instantly feel this feeling of like, what is the purpose of the self-hate? What is the purpose of the mind that attacks itself? The mind that attacks itself is doing the same thing mom and dad did, which is, look, you have to be better, you have to be better, you have to do this in this way. Why? Because it's trying to make you as good as it can possibly make you, thinking that that's going to get you love from other people. So even it is trying to get love. And the minute you see that, this monster that's been trying to eat you from the inside out becomes this tiny little baby that's desperate, that keeps telling you, you hurt me. You're hurting me over and over again, and I hate you for it. Because every time that you basically lose love from other people in all these ways, I don't get the very thing I want the most. That's the only reason it's there. So what I do when I'm in that mode where my mind is eating itself with these negative thoughts, is I get into the observer mind. So I'm actually watching myself thinking those thoughts, you know? Oh my gosh, I don't like your thighs. Oh my gosh, you've got wrinkles. Whatever it is, right? A lot more body image issues for women. And I'm like, well, look at me. What am I trying to do in this moment? I'm trying to perfect myself because I want love so bad. I can have compassion for that. And the second that that opens up in your being, you have stepped closer to the vibration of self-love.
How can you tell when people love themselves?
How can I tell when people love themselves? It really radiates. I mean, you can. It's like it's not. I wouldn't. I mean, obviously there are some traits which you notice. People who love themselves tend to always choose in the direction of what feels good. People who love themselves treat other people well. They certainly don't start wars. You notice that their diet starts to shift because their frequency starts to raise. But in general, it's like you feel this aura of complete peace around these people. And not only that, the first indication that someone loves themselves is that you feel like you can be completely yourself around them, because they're in a state that is the opposite of judgment.